It is time for NRCS Partyline today for your Tuesday, March 24th, 2015. NRCS Partyline today brought to you by CHI Albany Area Health, Wimmer Opticians of St. Cloud, Atlas Chiropractic of Wade Park, and the offices of the Central Minnesota Credit Union. In studio with me, once again, Dennis Fuchs, Administrator with the Stearns County Soil and Water Conservation District, and Dave Rose, District Conservationist with the Natural Resources Conservation Service, at least for a little while yet. Dave.
Yeah.
Well, there's a little foreshadowing.
Short timer.
The sadness in my voice as I introduced you like that.
Oh, I know.
Tell us what's going on, please.
Well, I've accepted a position in Chehalis, Washington.
Get on the tone. Don't go, Dave.
Nice.
What? Dave's not home. No.
Yeah, Dave's not here, man.
What? How did this all happen? How did this transpire?
Well, it was a position came up, and it's close to family, and for me, my daughter and son-in-law and granddaughter are just 3 hours away from that location, and my parents are another hour and a half from there. So, getting close to home.
So this is a friendly transfer from one office to the next.
Yes.
Everything coordinated between the two.
Yeah, well, we're working on that. Smooth, well, you know.
So what will you be doing over in Washington?
Well, the position is a district conservationist. What it is, it's expanded in that I'll be overseeing 5 offices instead of 1 over 7 counties in Southwest Washington.
More work for you.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, that's right. You know, the counties run from about halfway up the Columbia Gorge on the Washington side all the way to bumping right up to the Olympic National Park on the Olympic Peninsula up the coast of Washington.
Okay.
So, big swath of ground.
Minnesota compared to Washington, and what kind of the differences and what kind of different aspects of the job?
Well, as far as ag, Western Washington is dairy country, and there's certainly quite a bit of dairy. In Northwest Washington has a lot of dairies, very similar to Stearns County. Mm-hmm. That won't be my area, but I will have some dairies where I'm at. And, over on the coastal portion, there are some cranberry bogs.
Okay.
Interestingly enough. A lot of timber. There's a lot of forestry going on there. They do a significant amount of work with salmon restoration. In-stream type of stuff, as well as off-stream, trying to prevent the sediments and whatnot getting into streams and so on.
So same kind of deals here, preventing runoff and all that
we're
extra
the
stuff.
Same old thing.
Same old
Soil
deal.
health is important. Conservation.
Soil is soil, no matter.
Spread the gospel of conservation over there.
Amen, brother.
There you go.
So now when are you leaving officially?
I start driving next Friday morning, April 3rd, and my first day of work is April 6th over there.
So you're packed up, or you're going by yourself? How does this go?
I've got to go out ahead of everybody else.
Okay.
My kids are going to finish school here, and then I'll be back. My son's going to walk through graduation for Sauk Rapids Rice High School, and on the 26th of May, I think is the date for that. So I'll be back for that. We'll round everybody up, and off we go.
So are they going to sit you up in some swank hotel, or how's that
I'm
going to work?
towing my trailer. I'm going to live in an RV for
You're
2 months.
Live in the van. Live in the van down by the river.
Yeah.
I live in a van.
That's right.
No, but you'll be okay.
Oh, yeah, I'll be fine.
Are you literally going to be in a camper of some kind? Or
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I thought you were joking
It's just
around
me.
here.
No.
It's just you should at least get an apartment or something.
No. Why would I want to do that?
Why would you want to live in luxury?
What's the fun in that?
What are the temperatures out there right now?
Right now, they're in the upper 50s to low 60s right now. They're hovering around in the 50s.
And is it
they
still
got a little rain going through there?
A little rain yet?
Cools it
Okay.
down, yeah.
When doesn't it rain there, though? Is that a
Well,
misnomer?
actually,
or?
I found it really interesting. Where I'm going is a 32-inch rainfall area,
okay.
Which is not all that much different than here. I mean, it's a little more, yeah, but I think more in the case of where it is when it comes, there's more of it comes in the winter. Mm-hmm. You know, we get snow here, they'll get rain, and then it can be warm and not as much rain throughout the summer, whereas here we'll get summer thunderstorms and whatnot.
So you'll be more in the eastern portion of Washington State?
Western
portion. So you'll be close to...
I'll be halfway between Portland and Seattle.
I don't know where that is. I got to look at a map. But
yeah, well, you know,
how far are you from the beach?
The listeners can look at a map while we're talking.
How far are you from the ocean there?
An hour.
Hour? So are you going to do a lot of the seafood thing? Are you a seafood guy?
Yeah.
Seafood, eat it.
Seafood. Yeah, I'm
and
gonna be on a
eat it.
seafood diet. Yeah.
Very good. All right. Well, the best of luck to you,
Well,
Dave.
thank you.
Are you ever going to call us and check in?
Oh,
or
absolutely. I might have to
reminisce?
listen in on the internet and maybe call in when you're doing the show.
Because I would like to see, comparison of your job with you in Washington compared to what, Dennis is doing here and that kind of
Yeah, I think that would be really good. Yeah.
be kind of fun.
The transition, I mean, it sounds like, we're laughing, haha, and we're going, but really the decision making on whether to even apply for the job in the first place was kind of tough because it's, sometimes you're looking at jobs that, I really want to get out of this job and go to a different job, but that was certainly not how it felt here. This is the best job I've ever had.
Woohoo!
Best place I've ever worked.
So did the headhunter come to you and say,
No,
or how
no,
did this?
No, that's not the way the federal jobs work.
They come
They
seeking
don't
you.
care if you want the job, you got to apply for it. So,
Okay. See, how did you find out about the possibility of the opening there?
well, interestingly enough, I knew the guy who had the job before. He'd come to Minnesota. He's actually in charge of the programs here in Minnesota now.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the heads up that it was happening. So I paid attention, and my wife and I talked about it and decided we'd throw our hat in the ring and see what happens.
Did you have to interview for it, or were you
Yeah, I did.
automatically- You did?
I interviewed.
Was it tough to get, or was it pretty?
Oh no!
You were
I
the- you
was
were the
the
pro.
unanimous choice.
You were the top of the list.
top dog.
The
Yeah.
top guy.
Well, I did get it, so I guess
Okay.
I can say anything I want.
Well, you sure kept it secret from us. I
Well, I know.
sprung it on just now.
We thought about bringing it up, but
We
Dave
did.
goes, let's just wait until.
Well, there were some things that need to fall into place. I mean, part of the issues with going from one place to another is, I mean, you got to have to sell your house and all. There were some things that pieces need to come together.
How's that going for you? I mean, you
You
got
know,
that
it's going. It'll get there.
started?
But it's a lot more less nerve wracking now, I suppose.
I can't imagine just picking up and taking everything. And I know you're going to go ahead of time and kind of get yourself established, but
Yeah.
when you finally do that move,
Yeah, I
do you
know.
got a home in
The
mind? Or?
well, that's the plan. Is we're going to have a home waiting, so the truck will come here, load up our stuff, go from that door to a door that I already have set up out there.
You already got something picked out? or
I'm
you-
working on it.
You're working on it. Okay, that's good to work
The
ahead.
plan is to have one ready to go.
Have one ready. You'll have it all moved in. Okay.
Dave, as far as your career, where have you been? Can you run through the town?
In
Well,
2 minutes?
I worked for the federal government for 25 years, and of the 25 years, 16 and a half of them have been here in Minnesota.
Okay.
Which is so a lot of my time was spent in Minnesota. I started my career in Washington, interestingly enough, in southeast Washington, and then I came to Minnesota for a district conservationist position in Warren, and I've been in several offices in Minnesota, with this being the last one. But I've been a district conservationist in 3 locations here in Minnesota and 1 in California.
And California, you didn't want to go back to there, or there was no chance
No.
to go there? No.
That's not a. It's
No.
not a rip on. I mean, California has a lot of positives, but it's a very expensive place to live.
Exactly.
So you need to be prepared for stuff like that. Anybody who'd want to go out there. But there's there's conservation out there too, and as anybody's paid attention to the drought they've got going on, water conservation is a premium right now. So, yeah, I've learned something interesting from every job in every location. It's been different agriculture everywhere.
And in Wade Park, you've been there how long?
Almost 5 years.
5 years. Almost.
Yeah, it would April 25th would be 5 years.
Okay.
And I think, what was it, the first day on the job, we were right in here.
That was the first day?
It was the first day, yeah. I showed up, and Dennis says, come on, we're going to the radio.
We're going to talk. Like this guy named Brad, he's a real dork.
Off
but-
we go. Yeah, that was fun.
Well, Dave, I'm going to miss you. I hope everybody else does.
Well, I'm going to miss everybody, so.
Okay. Tell you what, we'll take a break. We'll come back and we'll talk some other stuff coming up here. We might talk some other maybe staff issues possibly.
Yeah. We got some things to talk about.
And other things in mind. Okay. So we'll be back with more from our Dirt Boys, I like to call them. The Dirt Boys. Dave Rose, Dennis Fuchs here. If you like some answers to some questions, give us a call, 320-845-2184. That's 320-845-2184 or 1-800-950-2148. 1-800-950-2148. Got news, weather, markets on the way, and then more from Ansar's Partyline. It's 9:30. We've got clouds, 28 degrees, our current temp. Time for news information, Minnesota News Network on KASM Radio. Midwest Machinery brought you your Markets Minnesota Farm Network here on KASM Radio as we continue Answers Partyline, visiting with Dennis Fuchs from SWCD and also Dave Rose, NRCS. During the first half of the show, we were talking about how Dave is leaving us. Dave is moving on to, do I dare say, bigger and better things or just different things?
Different things.
Different things.
I'm not so sure you could get better than here.
Yeah, I like that.
Good cover.
Yeah, well, that's true. This is by saying that this was the best place I've ever worked, it's not just the team in our office, which that's a tremendous team, but the farmers in this county are really, really awesome.
And this is the most fun radio show you've ever done.
Oh,
I'm sure.
absolutely.
The only one you've ever done.
The only one I've ever done, yeah. Definitely the most fun.
The most fun. The only one, yes. So now, Dennis, with Dave leaving, how is that going to be compensated with staff people, and how is the staff changes overall?
Yeah, there's a process, and NRCS has been going through some transformations the last couple of years and bringing in a different way of bringing on new employees. And right now, NRCS is sitting on 55 open positions in Minnesota alone. We've got a couple in our office, and it is problematic when we have these spots that aren't getting filled, and we've got tremendous workload here in Stearns County, and we're definitely one of the highest workload counties in Minnesota, if not in the Midwest, with USDA, NRCS related programs, with EQIP and CSP being huge program drivers. Yeah. Like EQIP, we have how many contracts?
Right now we have, I think the last time I looked, we have 56 active contracts because a lot of them have been completing some things, which is good, but we're going to be getting more. That just kind of replenishes all the time. And we had, at last count I saw, 111 CSP contracts that are active right now.
And that's just a tremendous workload. And okay, so Dave will be, his last day in the office is next week, Thursday. And then hopefully by Monday, we'll have an acting district conservationist just temporarily to help out in our office until they can permanently fill Dave's position here, which takes...
it's a process. It has to go through. The vacancy would have to be announced open for a certain time to accept applications. And then when it's closed, they'll... whoever's eligible, they put it on, within a couple of weeks, they'll have decided on who ought to be interviewed for the job, and then hopefully they'd have a decision within a week or two after that. So now you're up to, what is that?
54?
2 months. Yeah.
2 months. 2 months.
And then whoever is selected, depending on where they're at, anywhere from a month to 2 months to get here.
Oh.
So that's 3 to 4 months from my departure to having a replacement.
So the temporary, is that in office? Or?
Yes.
Okay, that's going to be from
it'll be somebody
within.
that's here. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and a good example would be our NRCS state conservationist, Don Balone. He retired.
At the end of the year, he retired, and so then they went through the process just like I described, and we have a selection now that our new state conservationist, which we could say is Kathy Pullman, will be coming from the state of Maine.
Okay.
To be our state conservationist, and she has many years of experience, and from what I hear, she'll do a fine job. So
yeah, we're excited. When I visited with the chief, Jason Weller, he said that one of the first things we got to do in Minnesota is get that state conservationist position filled, because that person needs to help identify the priorities for the state of Minnesota. There's 55 openings, but there's not enough funding at USDA to fill every one of those positions because of the budget cuts. We're going to have to be doing some downsizing and modification and enhancing efficiency with less people, and she's going to have to help us identify those priorities.
But having her here is going to mean that will mean that that process can move forward. Mm-hmm. You got to have that person on board. So, and I think we were doing our calculation on the way in that we should probably expect her here before June. I mean, give her some time to move from Maine, but she ought to be here in mid to late May, I suppose.
Not to knock her or anything whatsoever, but from Maine, why they can't find somebody from Minnesota, or is this just?
Well, it's not as though folks from Minnesota wouldn't be qualified, for instance, or wouldn't have been interested. What the agency tends to want to do is to spread some of that experience around so they can bring something from somewhere else. Some
extra knowledge maybe, or extra
right.
feedback.
And it's sort of seed knowledge from elsewhere and bring new ideas and whatnot. And there's some benefits to that where her knowledge that she brings could very well be maybe a tipping point for some bigger and better and greater things to come.
I didn't mean to be so selfish, just
No,
Minnesota
that's all right.
only.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I know how that goes.
But I just thought more, somebody from here would know more of what's going on here rather than somebody from Maine. But the way you put it, Dave, you convinced me. I was wrong.
Typically what you see of folks that would be a state conservationist, they will be speaking to people around the state to get a feel for what really happens here. Positives, negatives, what could be improved, what's really going well that we could keep doing well, stuff like that, and they can use that as in the decision making about how do we move forward. And working with the partners is a big part of that too.
So you're going to bring your Minnesota insight back to Washington State there.
Yeah, and to make Washington State a little better.
I'm going to try to say "yeah, you betcha" a lot out there too.
So they can kind of tilt their head and look at you funny.
What?
Are you from Fargo? What?
Yeah.
All right.
Some other staffing changes going on in the office. Our Soil Water Conservation District urban conservationist Carrie Raber took a job with the Minnesota Department of Health here earlier this year. And we just recently filled that position, and she started this week Monday, and that's Chessa Fram. And the key work duty for this individual is to assist communities in Stearns County with their source water protection plans. And we've got several communities that are, struggling with some increased nitrates and bacteria potentially in their drinking water supplies, and we work very closely with them to make sure that they're providing their residents the cleanest water possible. And we've been doing a lot of work with the city of Cold Spring, New Munich, Melrose, and others out there, Paynesville. And we're going to continue to build our partnership with these communities. And then she's got a lot of other duties that she'll be involved with. And one of them is water festivals and working with youth and educating our youth on good conservation practices to protect our natural resources. Another position that we've got a grant fund. This is for a 3-year time period, and that's to bring on an additional engineering technician that's going to help survey and design conservation practices out in the field. We've got over 200 people on our list that have requested technical assistance to help solve their resource concerns, a lot of that being erosion concerns. And this person will help with the survey and then, more importantly, help with the design. We really need somebody to sit there with the AutoCAD, the software that helps lay out all the quantities so you can develop cost estimates, what it would cost to implement the project, so we can set up the financial package and work with the landowner. And then they take that information and visit with contractors to help come up with a program and project, and then our board would fund that. So that person we hope to have on board by the end of April. And we're hoping that we can identify somebody here locally, maybe that graduated from St. Cloud Tech or one of the surveying civil engineering colleges, and bring that person on soon to help us with this construction season.
So civil engineering is kind of the what they should be going for to qualify for something like this?
Land surveying, design. The St. Cloud Tech College has got some really good program with the good instructors over there. And then we also shared this information with other schools. North Dakota, we're within their whole system now, and we've got the information out there. And then I tried something I've never done before. I put it on Craigslist as a job through the government. So we'll see if.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, let's see if
you're getting technically aware.
Wow. Yeah. So we got a few things going on there, and then also our Minnesota Ag Water Quality Certification Program, which we've talked about here in the past. We're one of the 4 pilot areas, and we've got the Middle Sauk pilot area. And the Minnesota Department of Ag received a Regional Conservation Cooperative Partnership, RCCP, through USDA to take this across the state of Minnesota over time. And what they'd like to do is take that across area, which includes the Middle Sauk, and every county from Benton to Big Stone, which is a 12-county area. And there's going to be some additional grant funds to help bring on a coordinator to run the program and help run the tool with farmers, too, the Water Quality Ag Index tool. And there again, we hope to have that person on board later this spring. And And hopefully we can identify somebody that can hit the ground running. And we'd really like to work with these other counties in helping them get farmers certified through the water quality certification program.
So you got to work with them too. I mean, you got to kind of work outside the.
Yeah. As I'm the host manager for the West Central Technical Service area, so as I help manage the personnel that provide engineering services across that 12-county area. With the staff we got, they're awesome. It makes my job very easy.
So they just kind of go do their thing and.
Yeah. Basically, that's what they do. In
other words, you don't have to put much input into it.
Really good staff in place, which makes Dennis's job a lot easier.
So basically, it's just coordinating with the other SWCDs to make sure that their needs are being addressed and that their priorities of where they want to be working within their county. Say they've got a lake that's impaired. Well, they might want this individual that's doing the water quality certification program to work with farmers around this certain lake to make sure that they can get certified and that we know that if they get certified, there's minimal pollutant contribution from each of these farms. And the ones that we can't get certified, we've got some of Dave's programs and some state of Minnesota funds available to help them, say they got a gully or they got a feedlot runoff. We can use those funds to help address those resource concerns and get them certified. Right. So that's part of this. We got a lot of stuff going on in the office. So we're excited, and it's kind of special to have a great team like this and bring these additional dollars to our farmers and landowners here in Stearns County, and now even to spread it out farther from Benton to the Big Stone, these special dollars that can help us address our resource concerns.
Well, what are some, with the Middle Sauk pilot area, and are there some deadlines coming up as far as you got to have this in by this time or this in by this time?
With the certification program, there's really no deadlines. We just work with the farmers as they're available and as they're interested. Now, if you start talking about some of Dave's programs, and we've used Dave's programs and FSA, the Farm Service Agency, CRP programs to help our farmers get in and certified. So what I should mention before Dave talks about EQIP and CSP is one of the things that you have to do if you're getting certified is you got to meet today's rules. So that means your feedlot's got to be in compliance. Your buffers need to be installed. So if you're in a shoreland area and you've got DNR protected waters on your property, well, that needs a buffer. So for us, we've been working through this process. And before Dave talks about EQIP or CSP, I wanted to mention something about buffers. What we're finding out is the DNR protected waters inventory for Stearns County is really not very accurate. There's a lot of
needs some updating.
Yeah, there's a lot of flaws with the coverage. Doesn't do a real good job of actually identifying some of the streams that probably should be protected. And Ben Ruley, our GIS, Geographic Information Systems Specialist in the office, did some mapping looking at the public waters inventory, which is part of the shoreland ordinance. And then he looked at another layer that shows basically all the streams and ditches in the county. And there's about 1,000 miles of surface waters that are not protected streams. And that's just one of the first things if the Governor Dayton wants to move forward with a buffer program is first thing we got to do is come up with a better map of what needs to be protected.
Yeah, the inventory needs to be updated, that's for sure.
And going back to the certification program, so say they needed to do a buffer, well, then we can use the Conservation Reserve Program, do the continuous where you can do buffers along perennial streams. And then we also use CSP and EQIP. There's options through there, too, that allow you to do a little more harvest and stuff like that. And then the Sauk River Watershed District, another partner of ours, is working on the Harvestable Buffer Program. And that's something that we're on a committee with them to align our goals, and that's another opportunity for farmers to install a buffer that can be harvested. So those are just a lot of things, but Dave, you want to talk a little bit about EQIP and CSP, where we're at? The sign-up is always open.
Well, for EQIP, and we've talked about this before, the sign-up is continuous. So in other words, if anybody's interested in signing up for the program, they can come in any time. What we set up is ranking periods, application acceptance periods, that all of them we receive by this date, for instance, we will then start processing by a certain date. And for this fiscal year, we had 3 of them, mid-October, mid-November, mid-December for the third one. So now we're processing the first ones, and starting in April, we'll start processing the second acceptance period. So for the folks who come in today to apply, they have time to work out the planning, which is very important, and then that process will start all over again in the fall. So,
but there's still an advantage to the sooner the better, or
oh,
is
the
there
sooner
not?
the better,
Yeah.
because you need to have that planning done, so that gets the folks in the office, and we really have a good staff, to get that planning done so that folks can have an inventory of what's really going on out there, and they can make talk about alternatives and then make decisions, and so they're ready to go when the program is ready to start putting money into contracts.
Okay.
So, and that's always a good thing. Right now, for EQIP, we're in the process of doing that. We're obligating the first go-round contracts right now, and we'll get started on the second one. For CSP, we had our general sign-up. We were accepting applications through March 13th, Friday the 13th. I know, I love that. Huh? Mm-hmm. Anyway, for those who applied for that, just a little plug there, we need to be interviewing those folks. So I'm speaking to those of you who applied. If you should be either have already gotten a phone call from our office. Candace is from our office. Teaglin is calling folks to get those interviews set up. Those interviews are important for moving forward. So we're trying to get all the interviews done this week and next week. Prior to my departure, I suppose, is the push. And we understand, obviously, that there could be some snags in getting that done. But for the most part, we're trying to get as many of them done as we can. So if you get that phone call or you had the message on the machine, don't just ignore it. Let us know. We need to try to set something up.
Okay.
And then for folks, and then the other part, when we talk about renewals, the folks who got CSP contracts in 2011, those contracts will be expiring at the end of this calendar year. So they have an opportunity, if they want to renew that contract until the end of this month, they can sign up to renew the contract for another 5 years. And then we have several months to work out what those details will be. And then in December, we'll obligate new contracts for renewals, and off we go. So that's not quite the push right now. The current general sign-up for CSP is what we really need to work on and do interviews right now. But don't forget, folks, if you had a contract, you can renew that. You just got to come in.
Okay. Question from a listener. Didn't want to be on the air. It says here, do you have any jurisdiction on the Getchell Creek cleanout? Caller is wondering why some of the cleanup was done along the cleanout area, but some was left behind for the landowner to take care of. Any knowledge on that?
As far as the Soil and Water Conservation District, we are not the ditch authority or the Wetland Conservation Act local government unit. If there would be any restoration activity associated with Getchell Creek, we'd be involved in that way. But if they're following the rules, and I'm sure this is under the DNR and the Sauk River Watershed District's jurisdiction, so they would be more involved with this project.
And we'll be visiting with somebody from Sauk River Watershed District. We're scheduled for Friday the 27th, so I'll bring up that question.
There you go.
I'll bring this up on
because we don't
Friday.
have NRCS does not have any jurisdiction on that type of stuff either.
Okay.
We got just a couple of minutes. I do want the listeners to know that we still are taking tree orders until we have
they're gone.
Yeah, and they're getting picked over a little bit, but not too bad. These are for mass plantings. We don't want to compete with the horticultural folks in the county. But if you got acres to plant and you want to get some trees established for wildlife or for windbreak, these are the plantings to do. The tree pickup will be typically the last weekend in April or the first weekend in May, and we don't know yet for sure when that's going to occur because they need to harvest the bare root trees. The DNR and Schumachers and others help harvest the trees and then get them out for distribution ASAP. And that's one thing great about using the Soil Water Conservation District network is it's all hands on deck. And we've got several folks in the office, starting with Lori and Jason and others, to help distribute these. And we've been using the Albany MnDOT station right outside. You're not very far from KASM if you want to stop in and say, "Hi, Brad, I got my trees." Yeah, well, he's just kind of shaking his head.
I'm here, not there. I'm here, not there.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
Unless he's going to be broadcasting live.
Yeah.
From the tree pickup. Wow.
So, yeah, there's still trees available, so put that on your calendar. And we're not going to be back here until May 1st, so I want to let the listeners know that we also will be presenting our annual update from 2014 to the county commissioners on Tuesday, April 21st, and that'll be about 9:15, 9:30 in the morning. So if you do have a webcast, they do have a webcast, and if you have an internet connection, you'd like to see the presentation to the county board, Chuck Upoff and myself, along with the other SWCD supervisors, will be there to give the presentation.
Very good.
All right.
Got about a minute. Anything else you want to throw in there?
Well, you want to say anything goodbye to Dave or anything and give him a hug
Dave,
on the air?
I'm going to miss you, Dave.
Yeah.
Hugs and
you
hugs
too,
and
Brad.
hugs.
Yeah.
Hugs and hugs.
Air hug.
Shake your hand. Virtual shaking of the hand. There we go. No, Dave, best of luck to you, man. I'm going to miss
Well,
you.
thank you.
I had fun with you guys.
Wonderful experience working here for the last 5 years. Yeah, a month away. I can call it 5 years.
Yeah, that's close enough for government work.
Yeah.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you much. Dave Rose, Dennis Fuchs, again, Sauk River Watershed. No, that's Friday. SWC. See, now all this emotions just threw me off. All this emotional
Poor guy.
conflict. Dave Rose, NRCS, and also Dennis Fuchs, SWCD. Thanks for your time, Dave. Best of luck in Washington, and do call us sometime, please.
I will.
All right. We'll be back. News coming up in just a moment. KASM Radio.